In the quiet outer rim of the galaxy, there was a peaceful planet named Vendra. Vendra was known not for war, but for wisdom. It was home to the Galactic Academy of Sciences, a place where the best students and teachers from many species came to learn and share knowledge. The academy was built of glowing stones and silver towers that reached high into the clouds. Inside, strange lights floated through the air, and machines could think faster than 100 minds combined dot among them. Tall aliens with glowing eyes, floating limbs, and crystal skin, humans were still rare. Many in the galaxy thought humans were simple. Some respected them, but many did not. They were seen as newcomers, curious, emotional, and often too loud. Working quietly inside the academy was a woman named Mina. She was not a teacher. She was not a student. She was a cleaner, every day. Mina wore a simple blue uniform and pushed her small cleaning cart through the grand halls of the academy. She dusted the data screens, mopped the shining floors, and picked up paper scrolls left behind by careless students. She never complained. She never spoke much. Her hair was tied back, her eyes calm, and her steps quiet. The teachers never noticed her. The students did not know her name, but Mina saw everything. She watched the way alien students solved problems. She listened to their lessons while sweeping the corners. Sometimes she stared at the strange equations glowing in the air, her eyes fixed like she was reading a story. One day, something unexpected happened. It was a special afternoon. A group of important visitors from other star systems had come to observe a live class by Professor Talon, a proud and sharp-tongued alien, with green skin and a floating crystal crown above his head. He was known across the galaxy as one of the top minds in mathematical physics. His voice was cold, and his attitude was colder. He stood in the center of the great lecture hall. Holographic symbols floated in the air, glowing softly above his hand. Around him sat students from many species, tall, small, glowing, winged, all ready to watch and learn. Mina, as usual, was in the back of the room, cleaning quietly. She had just finished wiping the glass panel on the wall when she noticed the professor. Looking around, he seemed bored. To demonstrate the limits of knowledge, Professor Talon said with a sly smile, "I shall now offer a challenge, but not to the students. No, let us do something fun." He turned his glowing eyes toward Mina. She froze, still holding her cleaning cloth. "You there," he called, "human worker. Come here." The room became silent. Students looked at each other. A few chuckled. Mina looked around, unsure if he was serious. Slowly she stepped forward. "Yes, you," Talon said, floating slightly higher into the air. "You are not a student. You are not trained in advanced thought. But perhaps you can show us the simplicity of your species." The students laughed politely. Some covered their mouths. Mina said nothing. Talon waved his hand. A massive equation filled the space in front of the class. Bright lines, twisting symbols, complex shapes that moved and shifted like tiny machines. It was a problem from 9-dimensional temporal calculus, a subject that confused even the brightest minds. "This," said Talon, "is a puzzle that takes most beings a lifetime to understand. But let's see, maybe our guest has a hidden talent." He said it as a joke. The class laughed again. Mina looked up at the glowing problem. Her eyes scanned the shapes, the lines, the way the numbers danced. She stepped closer to the panel. Then she did something that shocked everyone. She lifted her hand, slowly, carefully, and began to write. The room fell completely silent. Her fingers moved across the holographic panel. She erased part of the formula, shifted another, drew a spiral in place of a floating cube. Her movements were soft, almost like painting. At first, some thought she was just pressing random things. But then something happened. The problem began to simplify. One section folded into another. Symbols vanished, replaced by clean, sharp terms. Equations balanced themselves. The whole structure became smaller, smoother, and clearer. Town leaned forward, his floating crown spinning slowly in confusion. A low gasp filled the room as the final answer appeared. The hollow panel blinked green. Solution. Confirmed. Correct. Mina stepped back. She quietly wiped her fingers on her cloth and returned to her cart. Nobody spoke. Professor Town's mouth was open. His eyes blinked rapidly, trying to understand what had just happened. The students stared at Mina as if they had seen a ghost. Mina gave a small nod, as if she had just finished cleaning another smudge, and rolled her cart away. The silence was broken by one soft voice from the crowd. Who ... is she? But Mina was already gone ... and from that moment, nothing at the Galactic Academy, or in the galaxy itself, would ever be the same again. After the day Mina solved the impossible problem, the Galactic Academy was no longer the same. The quiet woman with the cleaning cart had done something no one expected. People whispered in the halls. The news spread like fire across Vendra and even reached nearby systems. At first, many thought it was a joke, a trick. Maybe the panel had a glitch. Maybe Professor Talm had planned it. But those who were in the room knew the truth. Mina had touched something far beyond the understanding of even the brightest students. And she did it with calm hands and a quiet mind. The next day, Mina returned to work just like always. She wore the same blue uniform. She pushed the same cart. She spoke to no one. Her eyes were soft and kind, but her expression never changed. But now the students watched her as she passed. Some moved aside, unsure whether to say hello or stay silent. Others just stared. She was still the same Mina, but something about her now felt ... different. Professor Talm was not pleased. His pride had taken a strong hit. He had been embarrassed in front of his students and visiting guests. An untrained human had done what many believed to be impossible. Talm was a proud teacher from the Lernek species, known for logic, precision, and high intelligence. He had studied for over 200 years. Yet this quiet woman had solved his best challenge without even blinking. He had to prove it was luck. The following week, Talm prepared a new test. It was even harder than the first. The symbols involved spacefold mechanics and multi-layered functions based on dark energy movement. The problem required understanding of forces across time and space. Talm wrote the problem and saved it into the Central Hall's learning core. He invited teachers, students, and more alien visitors to witness another challenge. Word spread fast. People from nearby systems arrived. Even some science officers from the Galactic Union attended. A few of them were curious about this human cleaner. That afternoon, the lecture hall was packed. Holocameras hovered near the ceiling, quietly recording everything. Mina was called again. She stood in the back, holding her cloth and a bottle of cleaner. When Talm spoke her name, she stepped forward slowly. She did not smile. She did not look proud. Her face showed calm respect. Talm spoke loud and clear. Today's problem is not a joke. It is real. It has taken my best team 3 months to reach halfway. I offer it to you not as a test, but as a request. If you truly solved the last one with understanding, then you may try this too. Mina looked at the glowing board. The new equation was long, twisting in 4 dimensions, parts of it blinking in and out like shadows. Most people could not even read it. It was like a puzzle built inside a dream. She studied it quietly. Then she stepped toward the panel again. Her hands moved. First slow, then quicker. She did not stop to think. She didn't seem to be solving. She seemed to be reading it as if the numbers were words in a language only she could speak. Professor Talm watched closely. His expression changed from confident to confused, then slowly to shocked. One by one, the symbols changed. Whole parts of the equation vanished and were replaced with smoother, simpler patterns. The complex shapes collapsed into clean spirals of logic. At the end, the board flashed again. Solution confirmed. Correct. This time, the silence lasted even longer. Then came the sound of quiet clapping. One student, then another. Soon the hall was filled with applause. But Mina did not look proud. She gave a small bow and stepped back. The Galactic Union officer stood up and asked, "Miss Mina, where did you learn to do that?" Mina looked at him kindly and answered softly, "I didn't learn it, I just see it. It's like hearing music. Inside the numbers." That one sentence shocked everyone even more. To most beings, math was a tool, a system, something to study and practice. But for Mina, it was something she felt. After that day, scientists across the galaxy became interested in her. Reports were written, meetings were called. The Earth government sent messages asking for more information. Who was this woman? Why? Had she never been discovered before? A special team from Earth arrived on Vendra. They were kind and respectful, but curious. They spoke to Mina privately in the Academy's garden, where she often sat during breaks. Mina told them she had never been to school. She grew up in a small village on Earth, near the mountains. Her parents worked on a farm. She always felt something was different in her mind. As a child, she would look at the stars and draw strange shapes in the dirt. She didn't know they were equations. She just liked the way they looked. When she grew older, she moved to the city and took simple jobs. Eventually, she joined a human support team that worked on Vendra. She never tried to become a student. She just liked being near knowledge. One scientist asked her, "Mina, do you remember anything unusual happening to you? Something before you started seeing numbers like this?" Mina nodded. "Yes, when I was a child, there was a storm." "A storm?" "A strange light in the sky. It passed over our village one night. I remember seeing colors I had never seen before. The next morning, everything felt different. I started hearing sounds in silence and seeing shapes in the stars." The scientists exchanged quiet looks. They made notes. Something was beginning to form, a theory that perhaps Mina had changed during that storm. Maybe her brain had unlocked something that was once lost in human evolution. Maybe. She was the beginning of something new. As they left, one of the scientists whispered to his partner, "She didn't just solve the problem. She understands things we don't even know how to ask." Back in the academy, Professor Town sat alone. In his office, his pride was gone, replaced by deep thought. He watched the recording again and again, trying to see how Mina did it. And for the first time in many years, he felt something rare. Wonder. The Vault of Ethros had finally opened. For centuries, many believed it would never happen. It was built by a long-lost civilization that had vanished before any of the current species could record history. Scientists, scholars, and explorers had tried again and again to unlock it, but failed. It was Mina, a simple human woman, who finally did what no one else could. Now, the galaxy waited to learn what was inside. Mina stood calmly near the vault's wide entrance. The door had slid open like a flower, revealing a glowing hallway that led into the darkness. Strange lights moved across the walls, and a quiet hum echoed through the air. Next to Mina stood a team of scientists and safety officers from different planets. They wore protective suits and carried recording tools. But Mina wore no armor, no special equipment, just her simple blue uniform. "Are you sure you want to go first?" asked Professor Ellen, the Earth scientist. Mina nodded softly. "Yes, I feel like I've been here before, even if I haven't." They stepped into the vault. Inside, the air felt different. It was not cold or warm, just still. As they walked, the lights along the walls reacted to their presence, forming new shapes and patterns. The path opened wider until they reached a great chamber. At the center of the chamber was a large platform. On it floated a spherical object made of light and crystal. It spun slowly, showing stars, lines, and waves that moved like a living map. Everyone stared. "It's a star chart," said a scientist from the Zalari race. No, Mina whispered. It's more than that. She stepped forward. Her hand reached out to the sphere. As her fingers touched it, the object glowed brighter and expanded. More lines appeared, tunnels of energy connecting stars. Dots of light blinked across the map. Some were bright. Others were fading. The scientists watched in awe. This isn't just a map of space, Ellen said. It's a map of energy paths, living energy, across the galaxy. And they're all connected to Earth, said a voice quietly. The center of the map showed Earth glowing brightly. Pulses of light moved from it like a heart beating in the dark. Then something else happened. Words began to appear, not in one language, but many. Symbols shifted into words from old Earth languages, then alien tongues, then back again. They formed a message. The key has returned. The pattern begins again. Balance must be restored. The message repeated 3 times, then faded. What does it mean? Asked one alien scholar. Mina stood still, her eyes locked on the glowing sphere. It means something old is waking up, and the galaxy must be ready. After the discovery, everything changed once more. A full report was sent to the Galactic Union. Special research teams from across the stars were called in to study the vault. News networks covered the story daily. On Earth, schools taught children about Mina. Statues were being built. Books were being written. But not everyone was happy. Some powerful groups were afraid. They believed the vault's message meant change, a change in leadership, a shift in power. If humans were connected to the ancient builders of the vault, what would that mean for the rest of the galaxy? A secret meeting was held in the shadow of Telsari Prime, a dark planet home to a powerful syndicate of thinkers and strategists. The leaders discussed what should be done. One cold voice said, "We must stop this. The vault should have remained sealed." Another added, "We cannot allow humans to rise too quickly. They are emotional, unstable." But someone else spoke firmly. "She is not dangerous. She is guiding us. That vault could have destroyed us. But she brought knowledge, not war." Still, fear is strong, especially when power is involved. Soon, whispers of sabotage began. Back on Vendra, Mina had returned to the academy, but her life was not quiet anymore. She was now under protection. 2 peaceful guards followed her steps. She was given her own space in the academy, a round room filled with light and silence where she could think and rest. But Mina never asked for luxury. She missed the simple days of walking alone, cleaning quietly, watching the stars from the garden bench. One evening, she sat outside under the soft blue sky of Vendra. A small group of young students sat with her, asking gentle questions. "Miss Mina," one asked, "do you think we'll ever be as smart as you?" Mina smiled. "You already are. You just need to see the world differently." Another child, from a floating species, asked, "Do you want to be a leader now?" She shook her head. "No, I don't want to lead. I just want to open doors." But danger was getting closer. A group from the Telsari Syndicate sent a small team to Vendra. Their mission was quiet, not to harm Mina, but to remove the vault's knowledge before it could spread. They believed that knowledge should only belong to the oldest races. They reached the vault during a night shift, using cloaked ships and silent tools. But they were not ready for what they found. As they approached the vault, the light sphere inside activated on its own. The room filled with a soft humming sound. The walls began to glow. And then Mina arrived. She stood at the vault's entrance, calm and silent. The intruders froze. She did not shout. She did not run. She simply looked at them. The walls responded. The symbols turned red, then gold, then bright white. A voice from the vault spoke, deep and powerful. "The key is present. No harm shall pass." A wave of energy moved through the chamber. The intruders were lifted gently and pushed out by a soft force, not painful, but firm. Their tools were disabled. Their ships stopped working. They were caught, unharmed but completely confused. The vault had protected itself, or perhaps it had protected Mina. After the incident, the Galactic Union officially declared the vault a shared research site for all species, with Earth as a leading partner. Trust began to grow again. Mina was praised not just as a thinker, but as a symbol of balance. Professor Town, who once mocked her, now stood beside her during interviews and research sessions. He even called her Master Mina in private, though she always laughed and said, "Please don't." She remained humble, but everyone now knew the vault was only the beginning. Something bigger was coming, and Mina would be the light leading the way. After the Vault of Ethros opened and its secrets were revealed, the galaxy looked at Earth differently. Once seen as a young and noisy planet, Earth was now home to Mina, the woman who could solve ancient codes, open doors no one else could, and understand the deep language of the universe. Many celebrated her, some worshipped her, but others feared her, not because Mina had done anything wrong, but because her mind had changed the balance of power. In large Star Council halls, leaders from old and proud species gathered to talk. They sat around floating tables, their faces serious, their voices low. The vault responded to her, one alien said. "We could not even enter it. She has no military, no technology, just her mind. And yet, she holds more power than our science fleets," said another. A third added, "If more humans become like her, what will happen to the rest of us?" The silence in the room said it all. For thousands of years, the oldest civilizations had led science, discovery, and knowledge. Now a quiet woman from a small village on Earth had broken their records with a calm smile and a simple touch. Some felt hope, others felt fear. On Vendra, Mina remained the same. She walked through the Academy gardens every morning. She still stopped to help students find their notes, still spoke kindly to cleaners and guards. She never asked for power. She never claimed to be better, but she could feel something changing in the air. People stared longer now. Some bowed too, low. Others avoided her completely. Some feared what they didn't understand. Even teachers who once ignored her now acted nervous around her. Mina didn't blame them. She knew that fear and respect often walked side by side. One day, Earth's ambassador arrived at the academy to speak with Mina. He was a tall, gentle man named Rafik, known for his honest words and steady heart. He had watched Mina's journey closely and always supported her from a distance. They sat in the quiet garden, under a tree with soft blue leaves. "You've become something larger than yourself, Mina," Rafik said. "People are looking at Earth as a center of wisdom now. That's because of you." Mina looked at the sky. "But I didn't ask for any of this. I only followed what I saw." "I know," Rafik said. "But the galaxy doesn't always wait for people to be ready. It follows those who shine, even when they don't want to lead." Mina nodded slowly. "What if they don't want me to shine anymore?" Rafik's face grew serious. "Some already don't. We have received messages, warnings. There are groups who feel threatened by your gift. They may act. You must be careful." "I don't want war," Mina said softly. "I know. That's why I came. Earth will protect you, and not just Earth. Many who believe in peace are standing with us." And it was true. From different corners of the galaxy, people started rising to support Mina, not with weapons, but with voices and unity. A group of young alien artists created glowing murals of her solving equations in light. Human children on Mars wrote poems about Mina, the mind of stars. Scientists on moons and space labs held open classes to share knowledge, inspired by her calm and curious ways. Even some of the older species who once doubted her began to see the truth. She had not forced her way in. She had walked through quietly, offering light instead of fire. But not all chose peace. In a deep region of space, a hidden station called Zarni's Core became the center of quiet resistance. The leaders there believed only certain species had the right to control advanced knowledge. They feared a future where humans would rise quickly and lead. They started planning a secret mission, not to harm Mina, but to erase the vaults data, stop the spread of knowledge, and silence the message that had inspired so many. They believed they were protecting the galaxy's balance, but they were wrong. The Galactic Union heard whispers of the plan. Secret agents found signs of a threat. A quiet warning was sent to Vendra. That same evening, Professor Town, once Mina's doubter and now one of her strongest supporters, rushed into her study room. "Mina," he said, "you must leave the academy for a few days. We believe something dangerous is coming." Mina looked at him gently. "If I leave, they might try something worse." Town's eyes were worried. "And what should we do?" Mina stood slowly. "We don't run from fear, we face it. But not with anger, with light." She walked toward the vault once more. The night sky above, Vendra sparkled with distant stars as Mina stood before the vault. Lights around her shimmered softly. People from the academy and nearby areas had gathered in silence. Some held candles. Others stood with hands joined. All were there not to fight, but to protect, from the trees, from the paths, from the air itself. Peace flowed like water. Then, a shadow arrived. A small fleet of dark ships hovered near the vault. They did not fire. They only waited. Mina stepped forward and spoke calmly. "We do not want power," she said. "We only want to understand. Knowledge is not a weapon. It is a bridge. I offer peace. I offer truth." The vault glowed behind her, soft and warm. And then the ships turned and left. They had come ready for battle, but they found unity instead. That night, the story spread across the galaxy. A woman had stood before ships of fear, with nothing but her words and her mind, and turned them away. People cried. People cheered. People finally understood. Mina was not rising for herself. She was rising for all. Not as a ruler, but as a light. Now Earth was seen as more than a young planet. It became a place of learning, curiosity, and courage. The Galactic Union invited Earth to join the High Knowledge Council for the first time in history. And Mina? She still cleaned her own desk, still helped students carry books, still smiled at those who were ignored. But wherever she walked, hearts followed, not in fear. The galaxy had changed forever. Where once there was doubt and fear, now there was hope and unity. All because of one woman, Mina, the simple cleaner from Earth who solved impossible equations and opened the vault of the ETH. Now, Mina stood in the Grand Hall of the Galactic Union, surrounded by leaders, scientists, and students from many worlds. The hall was bright, filled with the soft hum of machines and voices speaking many languages. Today was a special day. The Galactic Union was honoring Mina, not as a ruler, but as a symbol of knowledge, peace, and courage. Mina stepped forward, her blue uniform simple and clean. She looked around the room with calm eyes, feeling the warmth and respect from everyone. A young alien child reached out to hold her hand. Mina smiled and knelt down, talking softly. She knew this moment was not about her alone. It was about everyone who believed in learning, kindness, and the power of a curious mind. The Galactic Union president, a tall being with shimmering silver skin named Zoran, spoke first. "Mina," he said, "you have shown us that wisdom can come from anywhere. From the smallest village on Earth to the great halls of the vault. You have reminded us all that knowledge is not the property of the few. It belongs to all who seek it." Applause filled the hall. Mina nodded humbly. "I never wanted to be special. I only wanted to understand the world and help where I could." She paused and looked toward the stars visible through the great windows. The universe is full of mysteries, but it is also full of light. If we listen carefully, if we work together, there's nothing we cannot discover. After the ceremony, Mina returned to the Galactic Academy on Vendra. She walked slowly through the gardens, where flowers glowed gently in the twilight. Students and teachers stopped to greet her. Some asked questions. Others just smiled. She was not a queen. She was not a legend. She was a teacher in the making. In the following months, Mina worked with many minds, old and young, alien and human, to explore the secrets of the vault. Together, they began to understand the ancient energy maps, learning how to use the paths of light to travel faster, to heal, and to grow. Her calm way of thinking helped everyone. When others struggled with fear or pride, Mina reminded them to be patient and kind. One day, a young scientist asked her, "How do you solve problems so easily?" Mina smiled. "I don't rush. I listen to the question, and then I listen to myself." But Mina's greatest discovery was yet to come. While studying a hidden chamber inside the vault, she found a crystal, small, glowing with soft blue light. When she touched it, a vision came to her. She saw ancient travelers planting seeds of knowledge across the galaxy. She saw Earth long ago, silent and still, waiting for the seed to grow. She saw herself not as a simple cleaner, but as a link. Between past and future, the crystal whispered a message. "You are the mind that changes the stars, the light that will guide many. But remember, the greatest power is not knowledge, it is the courage to share it." Mina held the crystal close. She understood now. Her journey was not just about solving equations. It was about bringing hope, peace, and unity to many worlds. Years passed. Mina became a teacher at the Galactic Academy. She helped students from many planets learn not just math and science, but how to think with heart and mind together. Her lessons were simple. Listen carefully. Be patient. Believe in kindness. Her story inspired millions, not just because of what she could do, but because of who she was, a simple woman who never stopped learning. One evening, Mina stood on the roof of the academy, looking up at the Pala. Stars. She thought of the journey from a quiet village on Earth to the great halls of the galaxy. She thought of the people who doubted her and those who believed in her, and she smiled. The universe was still full of mysteries, but she was ready, because she knew the greatest journey was not out there among the stars. It was inside her own mind. And so, the story of Mina, the simple woman who solved the impossible, became a legend. Not because she was the smartest or the strongest, but because she showed the galaxy the true power of a curious heart, a calm mind, and the courage to believe. After Mina solved the second problem, the Galactic Academy could not hide her gift anymore. Everyone was talking about her. Students, teachers, visitors, and even people outside the academy. Her name was now known not just on the planet Vendra, but across nearby star systems. On science stations, on space freighters, and in research domes, one question kept coming again and again. Who is the human woman who solves the unsolvable? Inside the academy, things began to change quickly. Where Mina once walked without being noticed, now she was followed by eyes full of wonder. Some students waved to her. Some gave her small gifts, a fruit from their homeworld, a drawing, a poem written in alien symbols. Mina always smiled gently and thanked them, but she remained quiet and humble. She still cleaned. She still pushed her cart. But everyone now knew this was no ordinary cleaner. The Galactic Union sent an official message to the Academy. Request immediate study of the human individual known as Mina. Her abilities may connect to ancient cognitive patterns or unknown energy interactions. Possible link to pre-galactic knowledge. Please gather details. Professor Town, once proud and cold, now found himself both curious and respectful. He had spent weeks watching the recordings of Mina solving the problems. Her methods were not written in any book. They were not based on standard steps. It was as if her mind could feel the shape of the answers before even starting the work. One morning, he called for Mina. She entered his office calmly. The shelves were filled with glowing books and floating models of space-time maps. Town stood near a window, looking out into the academy garden. "Mina," he said slowly, You have changed everything here. She stayed silent. He turned to her. I want to understand how your mind works. Will you allow us to study your brain patterns? We will be respectful. No harm, just learning. Mina nodded. If it helps others understand, I don't mind. Soon, scientists arrived from 3 different worlds. They brought gentle machines to scan Mina's brain, her nerves, her heartbeat, and even the way she saw colors. What they found was shocking. Her brain was human, but different. Certain parts were more active than normal. There were unusual connections between areas related to memory, logic, and vision. She also showed signs of being able to sense energy patterns not visible to normal eyes. One scientist said, it's like her brain is a living map. She doesn't just think, she sees ideas moving. Another added, she is not only solving math, she's reaching into the deep structure of the universe. Outside the academy, news continued to spread. On Earth, major science groups requested leave talks with Mina. On Mars, a group of students made a statue of her using redstone. A team on a moon near Saturn began writing a book called The Mina Pattern. Mina's life became busy. Not with fame, but with attention. People came to her, not just for answers, but for hope. A young alien girl from a desert planet asked, can I be smart like you, even if I come from a poor family? Mina smiled and said, wisdom can live anywhere, even in silence. But not everyone was happy. In some corners of the galaxy, there were those who believed only the oldest species had the right to lead science. To them, humans were still young and careless. The idea that a human cleaner had solved problems beyond their reach made them uncomfortable. A few voices whispered dangerous words. What if this Mina is not just gifted? What if she is dangerous? What if humans begin to rise too fast? We must be careful. A mind like hers could change power forever. These voices grew louder in secret meetings. Some feared what she represented. Others simply feared change. Back at the academy, Mina had no interest in power or politics. She only wanted peace and understanding. She spent her evenings walking through the garden or sitting near the academy pond, watching the soft lights reflect on the water. One evening, a young human boy named Tariq, who studied first-year biology, approached her. He was shy but curious. Mina, he asked, how do you see so clearly? I try to understand math, but it always escapes me. Mina looked at him kindly. Don't chase the answer. Listen to the question. Sometimes the answer comes on its own. Tariq nodded. That line stayed in his mind for days. He began to understand more, not just numbers, but how to think with calm and care. That was Mina's gift. She didn't just solve. She inspired. Soon, another test arrived, not from a teacher, not from the academy, but from the stars. A message came from an ancient planet called Selther, home of the oldest known library in the galaxy. The Seltherans were silent beings, shaped like glass trees. Their minds were slow but deep. Their library held puzzles from lost times. They sent one such puzzle to the academy, a problem that had never been solved. It had been sitting untouched for over 1,000 years. They asked one simple question: will the human woman try? The equation was strange. It was not just math. It included logic, music, motion, and light. No one even knew if it had a solution. Mina accepted. The hall was silent as she worked. She did not rush. She sat quietly, her hands glowing with soft blue light as she moved symbols, drew lines, and hummed a soft tune. After nearly 2 hours, the answer appeared, not in words, but in a glowing image that slowly shifted into harmony. The panel responded, correct, pattern complete. The Seltherans replied simply, she understands. She is one of the old minds. No one knew what they meant, but now people across the galaxy began to wonder, is Mina just gifted? Or is she something more? Mina's name had now become a quiet echo across the stars. She did not ask for attention, but it followed her like a shadow. From the moons of Jupiter to the crystal cities of the Zalari people, everyone knew about the woman who solved impossible equations as if they were simple puzzles. Some called her a genius. Others thought she was a miracle. A few believed she might not be fully human. But no one could explain her ability clearly, not even the smartest minds. Back at the Galactic Academy on Vendra, more scientists arrived. They didn't come to test her, but to learn from her. Some sat quietly during her free hours just to watch her write or listen to her thoughts. Her way of thinking was not only new, it was beautiful, but something still felt hidden. One morning, Professor Town walked through the Academy garden, deep in thought. Though he had once mocked Mina, he now respected her deeply. He had studied her work, tried to follow her steps, and still couldn't understand how she moved through problems with such ease. He met Professor Ellen, a scientist from Earth who had been quietly observing Mina for several days. Ellen had short white hair, bright eyes, and a calm voice. "She is not like other humans," Ellen said. Town nodded. "Yes, I feel she was not taught this way. Her mind is something else." Ellen looked up. "I think ... she is not just solving problems. I believe she is remembering something." Town frowned. "Remembering?" "Yes," Ellen said. "I looked into her past. She grew up in a very simple village. No schools, no science. But then something strange happened when she was a child. A cosmic storm passed over her home." "I read that too," Town said. "Strange lights in the sky, a quiet vibration, even animals behaving oddly." Ellen leaned in. "That storm might have changed something in her brain. Or maybe ... it woke up something that was already inside her." Town stared at the trees, deep in thought. "What do you mean?" "I believe Mina holds a piece of something ancient," Ellen whispered. "Something that humanity has forgotten. Maybe something that was once known, but buried long ago." Later that week, a private research team from Earth arrived. They asked Mina for a DNA sample. With her gentle approval, they ran tests and scanned her cells. What they found was both amazing and mysterious. Mina's DNA had a strange pattern, a series of repeating sequences that did not match any other human. These sequences looked like a language, as if someone had written a code inside her long ago. Some scientists said, "This is not a mutation. This is a message." One pattern repeated a strange symbol, a spiral made of light. That same spiral had once been seen inside the Vault of Ethros, an ancient sealed structure built by a lost civilization. For thousands of years, no one had been able to open it. The entrance was locked by a puzzle called the Equation of Origin, a formula written in living stone, moving constantly, never the same twice. Now for the first time, someone had the key. A few days later, Mina stood in front of the Vault of Ethros. It was hidden deep under the desert planet Norlis, protected by shields and watched by guards from 5 species. The vault was older than any city. Its walls were smooth like glass, but hard like metal. Its entrance had no door, just the glowing equation, always changing, always unsolved. The air was silent. The guards stepped back. Mina stepped forward. Her fingers moved in the air as if she were drawing with invisible ink. The equation responded. Symbols stopped shifting. The wall seemed to hold its breath. Slowly, the numbers and shapes began to glow. They turned from blue to gold, then to a soft white light. Lines moved across the vault's surface. A circle opened. The door was unlocked. Everyone stepped back in shock. Even the machines recording the event gave strange results. Energy levels rising, time slightly slowing. Inside the vault was not gold, not treasure, but a map. A map made of light, showing stars, paths, and something else, pulses of energy across the galaxy, like veins of life running between worlds. In the center of the map was Earth, The scientist didn't speak for a long time. The message was clear. Humans were not just students of the galaxy. They had once been part of something much older, something lost, something forgotten. Maybe Mina wasn't the first. Maybe she was the first to awaken. After the discovery, a quiet meeting was held on a space station above Vendra. Leaders from several advanced species joined, including Earth's ambassador. One alien scholar asked, "Do we believe that humans once held ancient knowledge?" The answer came from the Seltherans, the old tree-like beings who had tested Mina before. One of their elders moved forward and spoke slowly. Long ago, before memory, there were travelers who planted seeds of thought across many worlds. Few of those seeds grew, but on Earth, one grew quietly, hidden under storms, until now, everyone listened. Mina is not just special, she is a sign. That seed has begun to grow again. Back at the academy, Mina returned to her simple routine. She watered the flowers in the garden. She helped a young alien boy find his lost book. She cleaned the data table after class. When someone asked her, "How do you feel now that the whole galaxy watches you?" she smiled softly and said, "I feel the same. I'm just Mina." But inside her, she knew something had changed. She no longer just saw numbers. She could feel their music. She could hear stars humming, and deep inside, she knew this was just the beginning.